Now, on her second day of testimony before the inquiry probing state capture, former Public Enterprises Minister Barbara Hogan told the Zondo Commission how she was dismissed from a ministerial position and redeployed to Finland. She says she refused the offer as she wanted to spend more time with her late life partner Ahmed Kathrada. She told the Commission that the former President Jacob Zuma did not explain why she was being fired from the position. And we're joined now in the studio by our senior political reporter Mzwandile Mbeje, who's been keeping an eye on the story. I mean, it's been a day of developments, yet more explosive testimony coming out of the state inquiry today. Barbara Hogan, really, I suppose, revealing the inner workings of the Jacob Zuma administration and his involvement, particularly in the appointment of officials at state-owned enterprises.
Very interesting, Bongani. In fact, it doesn't only end at the former president's workings, but also extending to the ANC. Perhaps that's the reason why today you saw Zizikoto attend the proceedings there.
For all his protestations,
and of course, giving the interviews, basically saying, well, as a deployee, you have to be accountable to someone. But it was quite interesting. If you listened to the evidence yesterday and the evidence today, it was more or less the same. Yesterday, we were basically dealing with Transnet, and today we're dealing with Eskom.
So you're saying Zizikoto still maintains this line that Barbara Hogan was also revealing, that it seemed to her that the party's line around cadre deployment meant that gave them right to instruct ministers. Yeah,
because he is basically saying if you have been sent by the party, so then you have to be accountable somewhere. I mean, going as far as to say, even the president, they can call the president to account. But of course, the deployment committee that Barbara Hogan had spoken about, I mean, Ziz was saying, well, as much as it does recommend, but it doesn't really do the direct appointment. So
well, that's what she was alleging happened today, saying absolutely, that the president didn't seem to have any due care for his office or the constitution, imposed his authority nonetheless.
Obviously, if you looked at what happened with Jacob Marocha, when he had decided, or the board had decided that he'd be fired, but of course she says he got that call from a furious president to say, how can you do that? And
what do you think you're doing?
And then they got to that meeting to say, you know what, let's cut a deal. So, and both of them must give a version, and then in the meantime, Marocha must continue in the position. And then, of course, the board was unhappy with some of the things that they had agreed on, and there was that permission which Barbara Hogan says was given to Jacob Marocha to continue as the CEO, despite the fact that everyone was opposed to it.
So, and then there was the issue of the chairman, right? Bobby Gottsel stays, then he goes. No, actually he stays, and actually if the black guy goes, then the white guy must go.
Exactly. Remember when that permission was given, according to Barbara Hogan, was that because they were so angry with this, the deputy minister at the time, Enoch Godongwane, had to go to Lutil House to say there is this thing that is happening here, and then there was a call to say you can't continue with being in the office. You have to vacate the office. And the issue of Bobby Gottsel, remember that Marocha and Bobby Gottsel, they had expressed at different times frustration about the workings. So at some point, both of them wanted to go. And then when Marocha was going, and then Bobby Gottsel had handed in his resignation, and then they sent Gwede, who was the SG, then said, okay, it's fine. If Marocha is going, then Bobby Gottsel must go as well. So a black guy can't go alone. The white guy should go.
And of course, I mean, as you're pointing out, no matter what the protestations of people like Zizikoto might be, the name Gwede, for example, has come up yet again. She said that he was there when Barbara Hogan was offered, the redeployment to Finland.
It's quite interesting, but I think what is perhaps South Africans should look forward to is that Gwede will probably lead the ANC delegation, which is going to come and present at the commission. And remember, once you put a version, so the lawyers for the commission can perhaps decide to interrogate some of those issues that will arise there. It will be very interesting, perhaps in the next week or two, or even more.
Most telling moment for me was when she said that Ahmed Kathrada stayed in the car as she went to meet the former president because he hadn't been invited. Mzwandile Mbeje will leave it there for this evening. That's, of course, some reflections on the state capture inquiry. And, of course, another big story that we are looking